Friends of NRA is your chance to support our Second Amendment rights and preserve America's hunting traditions. Join Friends of NRA at one of our 600 exciting events nationwide. From games to auctions and exclusive firearms, Friends of NRA events are your chance to support a cause you care about while having a great time with patriots in your community. Whether you're a seasoned shooter, an avid hunter or outdoorsman, or passionate about freedom, there's a place for you within Friends of NRA. Visit friendsofnra.org to find an event near you. Stand up for freedom with the Friends of NRA.
Episode 279 of the Outdoor Drive podcast, the place to listen to the craziest podcast in the outdoor world. This is your boy East Coast Trev, and I'm joined with the good man, Mr. Madman Mardick.
What up?
What up, buddy? You picked a good one tonight. We got Charlie Moore joining us here on the Outdoor Drive. I cannot believe that we got him to come and hang out with us. Like, just blown away. Blown away. What a great podcast. I cannot wait to share this, guys. This is going to be a good one with you guys. Oh, was it Charlie Moore? I don't remember. Oh, no, it was Charlie Mcgee.
Way better.
Way better.
Way
Way cooler.
Not even comparison.
Yeah, fuck them 2-pound bass. Well, man.
Absolutely.
Oh, it was just so much fun. Absolute blast. Dude, you got out on the ice the other day, man. Things look kind of fun. A little bit different, huh?
Yeah, brother. I didn't get off of the ice last weekend, to be honest with you.
No?
And complete, fly by the seat of your pants because a lot of shit changed with the plans, right? Like, our Friday night plans kind of got canceled because of the rain.
I was so upset about that.
And then my Saturday morning pike tournament plans got canceled because the pike tournament got canceled. So then it was like down to like Friday night, like what are we going to do in the morning? And nothing really seemed, too exciting after.
Right.
When in your head you're going in a pike tournament and it gets canceled, like nothing's really like kind of getting you fired up. So it's kind of a game time decision, and we kind of went to a new lake that neither one of us had fished before, but we gave it hell anyways. It was a little slow to start. Just kind of picked a random spot that looked good on the map, and just like any good mobile hunter, right? If shit ain't working out, you gotta at some point you gotta decide we're gonna make a move. So we moved everything, all 12 traps, 12 new holes, moved them all one at a time, and I'll tell you what. As soon as we got set up, we started getting on the fish, man. A couple nice 2.5-pound bass, mixed in with a couple perch, and turned a terrible morning into something,
That's what it's about.
Yeah, and then got right back after it Sunday morning to my old stomping grounds, man, to the place I like grew up ice fishing. Like all my fondest memories come out of that pond, and got out there. A couple of my buddies and their kids, and we just absolutely mollywomped them, dude. Like your kid again, man, just chasing flags all day. I think we were out there. We actually got out there a little later than I like to get, but we had the kids, right? It's hard to get the kids out on the ice at 6:00 in the morning, So I don't know. I think I was out there. I had like 3 tip ups in the water. It was like 6:30, 6:45, and by the time I got 6 in the water, man, my first flag went off, and I don't think I came off the ice until I think I pulled them at 3 in the afternoon.
I think that's the greatest when you get up there and then you go to put 6 flags in, you turn around and the third one's off or whatever. It's
dude.
the big craze. I miss those days.
Dude, the place I went Sunday, I have memories of like putting your third one in and your first one's going off, and then you reset that and you're putting your fourth one in and the second going off, and it's like you can't even get the bait in the water, man, and they're just flying all over the place. We had a couple times, a couple runs Saturday where like 3 flags were up at once, like mid morning too, right? And then as soon as you set one, another 4 flags in the matter of like a minute. Yeah, dude, it was just steady all day. The kids had a blast. Some decent fish too, a couple big pickerel, a couple big bass. I caught a giant yellow perch. Yeah, it was cool, man. Actually, at one point too, it had been pretty slow. It was like that early afternoon lull, and I hadn't had a flag in a while. And Mike Salter calls me up, right? So I'm talking to Mike, I got my earbud in, and we're just talking. He's asking me how I'm doing, whatever, and I get a flag goes up. And I'm older now, so like the days of me running after flags are kind of over, right? Like flag goes up, I just kind of head on over there. But we got these kids here now, and these kids want to run to every flag, and if you ain't quick, man, them kids will steal your flag,
Mm-hmm.
And dude, I hadn't had a flag in like an hour or something, right? Like I'd be damned if I'm gonna miss out on this one, right? So flag goes off, man. I'm like full out sprint, like running across the ice trying to beat the kids. So on the phone with Salter, and I landed a pretty nice pickerel, like giving him the play-by-play. I'm like, we got a fish, Mike. Here he comes. Feeling pretty good. Feeling good. It was pretty cool, man. It was really cool.
That's awesome. Nothing's
Maybe
better than that.
Fucking damn kids got me chasing flags. I thought those days were over.
Over. Yep. Grab that flag. Don't worry
I got
about it.
creepers now, though. The game has changed, man. Like I used to
You
never
got to
wear
be
them.
careful with creepers. See, the
I don't
problem.
know, dude. I like them a lot.
Yeah, until they creep too much. And then, dude, I've seen some dudes. I don't know if it was enticed by alcohol or what the case may be, but when you wear creepers, sometimes they grip too much. And I've seen some dudes smash some noses, bro. Like,
Really?
oh yeah,
Hmm.
because they'll grip too much. So when you're running and you're trying to go and you're trying to get it out there, and they'll catch. And when they catch, dude, you just pow. Just think about it.
I had never had creepers.
Oh.
It was kind of part of the game, right? You kind of just you shuffle your feet and don't actually pick your feet up. You just slide them in. You could like slide hip up and stuff like that. But yeah, started running creepers, man, and I love them, man. I put those creepers on. I'm like, dude, it's like I'm suiting up for like homecoming game all over again. Put them spikes on, game time, baby. Let's go. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever not use them again. Like I'm fully sold on the old creepers.
Yeah, the thing too, I mean, especially as we start to get older, right? Like,
Yeah.
like you start to walk, like when you're sliding all day, man, by the end of the day and you go sit in the truck and you're like, oh my God,
Yeah.
my back,
Like that hip, you're shuffling the hips all day on the ice.
Bro, I said no more, man. I wear creepers all the time now because it's not worth it. You know what I'm saying? And your back, it's just not worth it. So
Yeah.
I'm excited, dude. We're gonna kick off here. We're gonna head down to Harrisburg for the weekend. I'm a little bit upset in the fact that we're gonna miss out on a weekend of ice fishing. But when we get back, it's gonna be full fledged. It looks like we're gonna hold on to some ice. I'm really looking forward, and I always do, in that late season targeting big fish. I think my devotion and is going to be to a big fish. I got a couple of spots that I want to hold off for a big pike. I know it's been on your mind and your thoughts, but I think I'm going to do some runs on some big pike water, and we might, if the ice holds up well, I got a couple of spots I've been thinking about because you've kind of lit the fire underneath my ass when you were kind of talking about chasing big fish, and I got a couple of big fish spots that we used to fish a ton and catch some big fish, and I'm really interested in trying them.
I think that's the most fun about fishing in general, but more really ice fishing, right? Like every flag is a potential. Like you don't know it. It could be another perch. Could be another perch. Could be you just don't know what it's going to be. And you tug that, and you get a little weight on the end of that line. You're like, dude, what is this? What is it? Like you just never know what the next bite's going to bring.
Yeah,
you get in the right waters, right, where there's potential of giant pike or giant walleye, or like when I was lake trout fishing, like every time you drop that bait in the water, you never know. Could be one.
Yeah. There's a couple of coves off the back of the Connecticut River that can be pretty crazy. And we used to fish them a ton, and I think if we get up in there, I think that we could potentially.
Now everyone's going to be there because you just set it on the air.
No, there's a ton of them. But I'd like to go up in there and kind of check these spots out. One of them's kind of, I remember it being a hike, but anyways, we'll mess around with that.
Like a long walk.
What's that?
A hike, like a long walk from the truck.
Yeah, to get from the truck. I just can't. I gotta look on the map and just.
How far of a walk?
I don't even know anymore.
Like, bro, we're public land hunters.
I
Like, how long
know.
be? Put the creepers on and let's go. It's splat.
I know. I think that this is it.
I think you should put studded tires on the e-bike.
I still haven't gotten the e-bike fixed.
Standard.
The e-bike, fuck, screw off. The
I think you should
e-bike.
drop it off at my house. I'll get it tuned up for you.
No, I blew a fuse. Um, the last little, the last time that I hunted with it, I went to go downshift, and for some reason, I don't know what happened, but it malfunctioned on me. So, but it's all good. So, so if you guys
Yeah.
are, go ahead.
I'm down if you're down.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm gonna look at some maps and kind of check some things out. There's some things that like you think about them and you're like, oh, dude, I remember fishing this spot and I remember being in this spot and just we used to go and explore in this spot and I'm like, oh, you know what? Now being older, we got to get in there and kind of mess around.
Yeah, well,
There's some
it's like
close to home. There's some a little further away. Some might, but screw it.
it's like Charlie said on the episode today. Like being able to fall back on places that you have history on. Like you can't beat that, And like the last couple of weekends of me ice fishing, like I've tried to mix it up, right? Like I went out on Coventry Lake to a spot I've never fished before.
Mm-hmm.
And, Saturday, me and Maddie went to another lake that I've never fished before. But then Sunday, I went back to the home turf and just mollywomped them, right?
Mollywopped them.
You got to mix it up with a little bit of new waters and try to find some new spots. But then sometimes you gotta go back to the old stomping grounds and where there was zero doubt in my mind that we weren't going to crush fish Sunday. Like, just guarantee almost,
Just tear it up.
But you can't always go to the same spot.
No,
you gotta spread out a little bit.
I think it's fun like that because, just to learn the unknown and kind of just have fun. I think that's always a great time for me. Like I just love to go and check out new spots and do new things. Like I think that's the cool thing for me. So. Well, brother, let's break through the sponsors. If you guys are down in the Harrisburg area, make sure to hit us up on some of the social media. Come and hang out with us. We'll be down there this coming up weekend. And love to see everybody kind of hang out. We're gonna go down there. I think we're gonna do a little bit more YouTubes and podcasts. Kind of hang out and talk to everybody and just kind of enjoy the show. We don't do a lot of that, so that's what we're gonna do. But we are brought to you by and title sponsored by Bowtech. Refuse to follow. If you guys are coming up to any shows, you guys see a Bowtech, make sure to take a shot with a Bowtech. Check it out. See how you like it. You feel it. Some really cool stuff coming from them. So make sure to go there and don't refuse to follow. And if you use the promo code Outdoor Drive, you get a free case when you buy a Bowtech. Latitude Outdoors, latitudeoutdoors.com. For you guys getting into mobile hunting, one of the big things that we use a ton is the Carbon SS sticks. I cannot stand behind that product more than anything in the world. Some really cool stuff. You guys can get on over to latitudeoutdoors.com. Use promo code Outdoor Drive. Also, when you're there, make sure to sign up for their newsletter. That's super important. Always some new things coming in from those guys over at Latitude. They just have the most amazing stuff. We are also title sponsored by Huntworth. Huntworth, get more for less with Huntworth. When it comes to camo, they are the best and the greatest on the market, hands down. Spring season's right around the corner. The Durhams, a lot of your early season stuff, your Shelton hoodies. I will not go in the woods without them. Tons of really cool patterns over there with Huntworth. So go and check those guys out, huntworth.com, huntworthgear.com.
I've been wearing the Shelton hoodie ice fishing.
I love it, dude.
So I don't freeze my ass face off,
Yeah, especially the heat boost ones, right?
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah, clutch.
Working Class Bowhunter, the dudes at workingclassbowhunter.com, paving the road for the rest of us. One of the best podcasts on the market, other than, obviously the Outdoor Drive, because that's why you're here. But go and check those guys out. Give them a listen. You can head over to the merch store. We have some really cool stuff, working class hats, all kinds of cool merch, T-shirts, can't kill big bucks if your wife sucks, all kinds of cool stickers. Make sure to use the promo code Outdoor Drive over there. Fourth Arrow camera arms for all of you guys that are filming. The new tripods. There's a carbon tripod. Camera arms for you guys trying to dabble into self-filming. So make sure to go check those guys out. And then Sadie's Ammunition LLC. Our turkey season is brought to you by Sadie's Fatties. The bread and butter is the one that we shoot the best. It's a seven and a half load in a 2 3/4. It is the most deadliest round from him. The Indian Creek choke. We use Indian Creek chokes also, so you can get those over that Sadie's Ammunition. Tell Aaron that we sent you. Just log on to their website. You fill out their thing. Tell them what you're going to do and build it. Now there's a website that you can get all their stuff over there with some merch and some other stuff that they got going on. But if the Saddies are flying, the turkeys are definitely dying. So make sure to go and check out Saddies for your upcoming turkey season. Steve, did I miss anything? Did I? Yeah?
No, you got it all. If you are at Harrisburg this week, Latitude and Fourth Arrow is definitely there.
Yes.
So make sure you stop by and check those guys out. They'll have a lot of product to check out in person.
Mm-hmm.
I think Latitude's in the archery hall this year too.
Yeah, they made it into the archery hall. Do you know who else is in the archery hall? And I'm super excited to go and see. Is Spartan Forge.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they have a booth in there. I saw that. I caught that on social media. So I'm super excited to go see those guys.
Cool.
It'd just be nice to shake hands with Bill Thompson. And
100%.
Yeah.
He's a trip, man. Like, the more I follow him and see his content, like, I love that guy.
Dude.
Love that guy.
So great. And he has one of the best products on the market, in my opinion. Spartan Forge is one of those things. Shameless plug for those guys. But I love it. So I'm looking forward to Harrisburg. You guys hit us up on the social media if you guys are going to be there this weekend. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Stevie will be in Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So make sure to check us out, hang out with us, and we're going to get on with it. We got Charlie, not the Charlie you're thinking of, but even better Charlie.
Charlie.
And talk about some fishing in Maine and some ice fishing, tips and tricks, tactics, all the good stuff. So we appreciate you, and we'll catch you guys next week.
The Outdoor Drive Podcast.
Well, we're back on with Charlie from Bucks, Bass, and Beyond. Charlie, what is going on? Steve, you told me it was Charlie Moore tonight.
Almost. Maybe better.
Oh, man, I was getting excited.
That guy's a tool.
I'm excited.
Let's just put that out there right off the bat, boys. Neon green shot through chat like Terminator spin base, blah, blah, blah. I've never seen so many 2-pound bass in my life. Shut the fuck up.
And enjoyed it, right?
Yeah, dude. Oh, my God. You want to force a video onto somebody.
Well,
that's the industry nowadays.
Yep.
So good news is we're going to have some fun tonight. Bad news is we're never having Charlie Moore on this podcast.
We just lost all of our sponsorships, but that's okay. We didn't need those anyways. Charlie, Charlie, tell us who you are, where you're from, and a little bit about what you do, my friend.
All right, well, I grew up in the Lakes region area up here in southern Maine, and me and my brother have been fishing together a long time. It all got going, like, back in the early 90s, if I tried to, like, smoke some Chiba in my bedroom, my mom would, like, kick me out immediately, get all mad. Stop smoking weed in the house. But we can go out in that little crawdad, that, like, green crawdad.
Oh, I know the crawdad.
Oh, boys. We could spend all day out there with our little, like, Discman with the speakers, and it had to be, like, straight flat, listen to, like, Tupac and Ice Cube, the Predator, and
Hell
Snoop Dogg. And we would smoke more Chiba, and we started bass fishing like 10 hours a day because no one would ever yell at us. We could do whatever we want. And then just as a side effect, we just start hammering bass, hammering them. And then before you know it, like, we got a little more serious about it, and we still have fun. But we were so fortunate to grow up in Lakes region because there's probably 10 or 15 different ponds we could get to. And we know one day when I get the 1996 like Toyota Camry, we started throwing the canoe on top of the Camry and going to different local ponds around us. And then like the 1998 Nissan Maxima going out in snowstorms and blizzards, just looking for roadside bomb spots where you can ice fish right out of your car. And so I've just been cruising the lakes and ponds, the lakes region my whole life, like hardcore bass fishing at first and ice fishing. And now I'm like so lucky because I get to go back to the same spots that me and my brother used to tear them up and take other people fishing. And like we got browns and rainbows and brookies and pike. Like it doesn't matter. We have landlocked salmon. We're lucky enough to be able to fish for landlocked salmon up here. So like we got a spot for that, and we just go to the same spots I've been going since I was a kid.
So where did it start? Like when did you become a guide and start this guide service? And do you do open water
Well,
also with it, or is it just straight
oh no,
ice?
see, I am an open water guy. I just hustle the off season with the ice fishing because I'm passionate and I love ice fishing. I'd be doing it anyways. But we have the 22-foot pontoon boat out on Sebago Lake, the Maine's second largest lake, but the deepest at 316 feet. And landlocked salmon and lake trout is the name of the game. But some gizmo threw pike in there 20 years ago, and we got 16-inch crappie and 5-pound smallies. So you couldn't ask for a better place to go fishing. Everyone in New England goes to Sebago Lake. So I pick them up at their Airbnbs, at their rentals, at their family cottages. From the 22-foot pontoon boat, I can put Grammy and Grandpa, Mom and Dad, all the kids, pile them up. I got this thing totally set up for fishing. And so that's like my passion now. But it got going because I went to college to be a registered nurse. That's what I kind of am already. And as I was nursing, I was like, man, I need a job I can just have fun. Working with all these uptight ladies in this little box is like killing me. So and also if I could pass the friggin' nursing exam, I was like, I can pass these guides exams. So I went and took a 3-day prep course, and I went and passed the fishing, the recreational, and the hunting guides exam, all three, just for like something to do. And I bought my first 18-foot pontoon boat like 11 years ago, and that got me going. And I bought a used 22-foot pontoon boat like 5, 6 years ago, and that was cool. And I sold it during COVID for like more than I paid for it. And now I have a brand new 22-foot pontoon boat. It's my baby.
So take us through the pontoon boat, right? Because pontoon boat fishing's probably a little bit different than most. So how do you have it all set up and rigged up to fish?
Well, it's set up. It's different because we have room to. We can walk around. We get up. We move around. We're not stuck in one little spot. All jammed. 5 of us sitting in the back of your boat. You'll V-haul like, huh? What'd you eat for breakfast, buddy? I can already smell it. You got plenty of room. And you set it up however you think of it. You look at the back of your boat. You spend enough time back there, and you're like, hey, well, I can put some lead core line on this side, a couple pole holders. I'm like, well, I don't know if this railing will hold an electric downrigger. Let's start off with a manual one. And then after cranking for 3 years, you're like, let's see if we can hold an electric one. And it does. And so I got a couple downriggers. I have lead core line. We can stop and jig if you want to. But I really like just bombing around with the color of the day at different depths for the lake trout and salmon.
That's crazy. So you just troll for the salmon and the Lakers right off the
Look at
back of the
that.
pontoon boat.
4 lines, 5 lines at a time. Absolutely.
Does
In
anybody
April,
else run a pontoon boat like that?
not really. We have some people who are trying to copy us now, and there people but have done it before, but I'm the only one like absolutely crushing it out of a pontoon boat right now. And it's 22 feet. I keep it on the trailer because sometimes Sebago's a little rough, and I go to all these little different lakes and ponds that I can weasel my way into. So it's pretty cool. We can like go for different things on different days.
The
That's
old the old '98 Camry still hauling that pontoon boat around, or what?
Oh, dude, we destroyed that thing. I almost scratched a hole through the roof of the car with this old town canoe I bought. With the canoe has like like the little where you're supposed to put the paddles and stuff, and like they little nubs, and they just dig right into the top of the car.
that's so funny because I used to do the same. I had a
Yes,
Hyundai
no.
a Hyundai Sonata, and I used to do the same exact
You
thing.
know, you no matter what, you're gonna scratch that thing up. You go get your mom's favorite beach towels. You're still fucking it all up. It's simple though. You just slap it on, go everywhere.
Everyone used to look at us all weird and stuff, but we did it, right? I mean, like, you gotta just stay with the hustle.
Dude, it's so much fun. That's the adventure. And you go to all those ponds over and over again with all your buddies, and like so many sunsets and like so many days out there just talking shit and exploring. And now to get to go and take people to the same places and to let them enjoy some of the same fun times we had and get paid at the end of the day is like it's exceptional. You can't ask for anything else.
So take us through a day of guiding. We'll do a day of trolling, and then we'll do a day of ice fishing.
All right. Well, trolling in like open water season, I don't start crazy early because I'm always waiting on people if I start too early. So you meet me at this place called Nason's Beach and Campground. It's a beautiful sandy beach that has a boat launch at the end of it in Sebago. And you just park right on the beach. You have to walk about 20 steps. You load on up to the pontoon and we take off. I don't know. In April, we go over to like the Songo locks because all the smelts are running up the locks and we hammer that. Like, but dude, it's like that's no secret. It's an LL Bean magazine. Like everyone and their mothers over there. It's like bumper boats. But then there's like certain currents that take off to different depths, and these currents will run throughout Sebago Lake, just like an ocean has currents. So does Sebago. And if you can memorize those a little bit and stay on them a little bit, then you'll have like crazy days. It's live smelts early in the season. But you have potential at 25, 30-inch landlocked salmon, like maybe like 5, 10 pounds. Do you guys know about the salmon, and how they used to go back and forth to the ocean, and they come into Sebago Lake and they would spawn there? And then back in the 20s and 30s, you can just go fly fishing off the beaches and catch like 10, 20 pound salmon that would come into Sebago Lake from the ocean to spawn. But we put dams on the rivers and we blocked their passage back and forth, and they became landlocked salmon. And
So
now they're
is
still in there, but they're not as big.
is it kind of like the Lake Ontario um
Oh,
type of
those are
sim?
huge. Yeah, but those are huge. And those might be a different strain of salmon. They can be cousins to the ones I'm fishing, the landlocked Atlantic salmon.
Okay,
So I'm not going to say they're exactly the same.
but
And the ones are really bigger out there.
so is it kind of the same thing though? Like they go back to where they were born, right? So they would let them
Yeah.
out, and then so they kind of do the same thing. Does Maine add them into there, or they just it's all
They'll
they?
take the same strain, the same original strain, the original genetics out of the lake, and they spawn they use those in the hatcheries.
Okay,
So they're not it's not some foreign strain. These came from Sebago Lake, so they still have the same genetics because
Mm.
those guys still have those ocean genetics. They can get very big.
so they'll go back to where they were born. So they breed them in the hatcheries, then they let them
Mm-hmm.
go, and then they go
Mm-hmm.
down the river or whatever, and then they go
Mm-hmm.
into the lake, and then they come back in. Is it every 3 years still?
They can't now
When
though
do they
because of
spawn? Do
the
you know
dam.
when they spawn? They spawn in the fall time, and they're protected. And there's certain areas of the lake we can't even fish. They completely shut them down. There'll be so many salmon in there. It looks like dolphins jumping out of the water at SeaWorld. And you're like, oh, I can't even go in
So
there.
so where how far is the dam from the lake? Like can they spawn up the river at all, or they
Oh,
locked right
yeah,
there?
there's still other
Hmm.
rivers. Yeah, absolutely. There's other tributaries and rivers that flow out of Sebago and into it that they can still get into.
Okay,
There's just the true passage to the Atlantic Ocean is the one that's blocked.
I got you.
But then go up there's other areas all around Sebago, and that's where they do a lot of their spawning. Absolutely, and those are protected in the fall time.
Now, don't do they go up? It's every what 2 or 3 years, right? That they go up to spawn, like each.
Oh, I don't know, bud, but the river you could walk across them. It looks like rocks on the bottom. There's hundreds jammed up in these rivers.
That's crazy. So they say like I know with like the Ontario fish because those are the ones that I'm used to because I fished them for so many years. But it's like different. So like they'll have, say they put them in 3 years ago, those fish will come back. Then the next year, then they'll wait 3 years on that. So it's constantly that they're up spawning, but they're 3-year-old fish that come up and spawn. If that makes
Yeah,
any
whatever
sense. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Whatever the proper age class is, 100%.
That's
And
crazy.
we set like little nets and traps, and they'll catch the biggest ones, and they like milk the eggs out of them, and they
Mm-hmm.
do these like I don't know, studies and surveys, and they're very, very cautious, and they careful with the numbers because they're just it's important tradition to the state of Maine.
How long is the run when they start spawning? Is it like a short window, or you be
I think
talking
it's
days,
weeks,
weeks?
couple weeks,
Okay,
yeah, 2 or 3 weeks, absolutely, maybe even a month. They
okay,
start showing up, but yeah, it's long. It's 2 or 3 weeks, but it could be weather dependent. If it
right.
like could shut it down.
That's
But it seems
wild.
like a while. It seems like a while because I did my last open water charter on a local pond, and this drunk guy comes wandering from his house, and he's like, "Why are you fishing here?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Look at all these fish in this river," and he was taking pictures of salmon that were already spawning, and I was still doing my last open water charter, and he was like showing me pictures, and he's like, "Got another one on a cutting board." I'm like, "Oh, buddy, that's like a $2,000 fish. What are you doing?" But that shows you how early, like that was like November, they were already spawning, and it goes through, yeah, into December. So 2 or 3 weeks at least, guys.
Hmm.
Wow, that's wild. That's absolutely crazy. So what do you do when you're trying to like the difference between trolling for salmon and trolling for togs
Oh,
or
lake
togs?
trout?
Yeah.
Yeah, lake trout, toad, exact same thing. So few mini salmon were left because they overfished the shit out of them. In like the 1970s, the state of Maine had to put lake trout into Sebago Lake just to give the boys something else to fish for. Like 7 or 8 years ago, some genius was like, you know what? There's too many lake trout in the lake. We should start killing them. And they made it unlimited
Oh,
on fish under 24 inches.
wow!
You can keep as many as you want under 24.
It's still like that now.
It is
Wow.
the same state of Maine that put them in there now says there's too many and they want you to take them out. And they've been doing it for like 9 years in a row. And it's actually having an effect on the salmon fishery. They're starting to come back. Last year was a very good salmon year. But I'm traditionally a lake trout fisherman, so I was kind of mad at first. I was like, I don't know. Yeah, because start earning them when they start killing them for 8, 9 years. I'm not catching 20 lake trout a day. I'm having to like I was every day.
So what is the difference in fishing? Like, are you jigging for them? Are you fishing them a little bit deeper? What's the?
This is the thing. You go pure salmon fishing, and there's so many lake trout, you'll catch them as a side effect, anyways.
Oh, see, I thought
You
it was
you
the
can
opposite. I
no, you catch them up top, and then every now and then you'll catch like you can catch a 5, 10 pound lake trout in 30 feet of water, but you're out in 150 feet, 30 feet down. Traditionally, where there should be more Sammy Miami, and boom, you might just hammer a pig of a laker. Because what's like a 10 pound lake trout's favorite food? Seriously, things eating salmon. Something he's
Wow.
Lakers are gotta be trying to eat the salmon, especially the ones that they just stocked from this year. That's what's so hard to catch a 15, 20 pound Laker. Like, how am I supposed to compete with a 10-inch salmon?
You got to
mm,
be a 10-inch salmon.
You gotta think like one, bro.
That's it. Now, do they swim near the surface? The
The
salmons?
salmon, they can early in the year, they can. But say the balls of bait, the balls of smelts are from 18 to 35, they'll be a little deeper.
Mm-hmm.
But and Sebago's like in the woods a lot. It's very wet, and we know it's getting hotter and hotter every summer. So what's wet and hot mean? Bugs. More bugs you've ever seen,
Oh.
bro. And we'll have these hatches of bugs, and you get to the right current, and you look down the lake, and it looks like an Exxon oil slick going down the lake, and it's just thousands of little black gnats and these little
mm.
currents, but it's showing you where to fish. So you start trolling right down through those gnats, dude. If you can't look off the side of your pontoon boat and just see like so many bugs you can't even count them, you're in the wrong spot.
Because they're in that current, right? Is it the
Oh,
oxidation in that current is why they're
no, it's
there?
like a buffet. Imagine the buffet line. They just gotta swim through it like a basking shark with their oil freaking mouth open, like just all the bugs are right there. And so you gotta put your presentation somewhere in that area.
Mm.
Mm.
And if you're not, it's a slow day in hell.
Do you
Because
just
you can
drive
tell when
around
you
look
ain't.
just driving around looking for slicks?
Oh hell, bud, it's so bad. At like 1.5 to 1.8 miles an hour. Depends what day it is.
Oh,
In the summer, you can go 3 miles an hour, but in April, you got to go point 0.5 to point 0.8 with live smelts. So if you're in the wrong spot, you're also going incredibly slow. It's brutal.
oh, that's like watching paint dry.
It can be in April, and plus there's a 14-mile-an-hour wind out of the north, and we got a good view in the pontoon boat. It's like good AC, but horrible insulation.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's just like you're going skiing. Dude, the guy in like a 14-foot dinghy, but it's all enclosed. I'm so jealous. I'm like, dude, look how warm he is.
You wish you had one of those V holes and you're sitting on your buddy's lap.
Oh, it's so bad. Well, that's weird, huh? Is that how you guys fish down there?
No, God no, no way.
Sounds fun though.
It does, it does, but no,
We
nope.
all just got awkwardly excited, you know it.
Oh no, we don't fish like that at all. Not we don't troll nothing. You don't troll for what? Striped bass, maybe. We don't even like our trout and stuff. They do a little bit of spoon trolling, but nothing like that. Like, no
See, I
way.
can't. Even on a pontoon boat, if I get 2 or 3 guys casting at once, like I want to go hide with a helmet on. You know what I mean? You got like 3 guys from New Jersey up here, and they're all like 6 feet fucking deep, dude, and they're winging treble by hooks every which way. No way, dude. I'm like the casting Nazi. I'm like, no casting.
Oh,
Trolling only.
trolling. Well, I guess it's a little safer. I used to run a 27-foot center console with 3 guys slinging eels for 50-pound bass. So I
That's
guess
huge. That's a huge boat, though. That sounds like a lot of fun.
it is. Yeah, until you get some idiot that doesn't know how to cast and he puts a treble hook in the back of your forehead.
Yep. Those, dude, eels are so expensive now. Did you catch your own?
No, we buy in bulk.
Oh, you got it, dude. I go to buy them. They're like $2 an eel now. I'm like, hey, why? Are you kidding
Two?
me?
Oh, they're probably 275, dude. It's ridiculous.
Right? You got to keep them on ice, right? Keep
Mm-hmm.
them on ice to numb them up so they don't like wrap all around your goddamn wrist while you're trying to load and hook them up.
So we do 2 charters a day, and we'll go through a dozen and a half each charter.
Wow. The way I cast, I do that many myself.
All
Dude,
right.
the stripers come up our rivers in May when they're chasing like the herring and the alewives when they're
Uh
first
huh.
hitting the rivers hard. And you don't even need to go anywhere. I go off the boat launch in my little square stern canoe like 10 feet and I start catching live bait and I just throw those out like, I call it Indian style, but like no sinker, no nothing, just live bait on a hook, all sneaky. And I find those rock jetties and rock walls. And dude, in May, you can't pay to be anywhere else. Just right in the rivers. They're like, it's not easy, but you can, there's very good nights.
So that's kind of funny. So many years ago, I came up to Maine and did some turkey hunting. I killed a turkey on the first day of the season, and the guide says if you go down to this river down here, it's got a ton of smallmouth. So I went down there, and what is the universal lure? Anywhere you go, you can catch any fish with it.
A
Anybody?
spinnerbait.
No.
I was gonna say
Charlie Moore, come on, stop it. No.
No. I like a Blue Fox Vibrex by
Oof.
Rapala, number 3.
You just said it, Rapala.
I don't like those with the jointed Rapala.
Just a regular Rapala. Like you'll catch any fish. I don't care what it is. Rapala, oh, it looks like some type of bait. Like, I don't know. So I throw this thing out there and I start smashing stripers. And I was like, what in the world? Like, we're far from the stripe. But they ran up this river and we were catching schoolie stripers. I couldn't believe it. I was blown away.
Were you next to a
the guy
dam?
thought they were smallmouth.
No, he just said it was really good smallmouth
Yeah.
fishing, but he's not fishing that time of year because it's turkey hunting season. But I went down there and started catching stripers, and then I went back the next day and the next day and the next day, and I could not believe. I probably caught 200 stripers, dude. It was wild. I never seen nothing like it.
Yeah, when they're there. And then the water gets too hot after like 2 or 3 weeks, and they disappear slowly, and they start staying out in the big bay. They're out in the ocean. Yeah, once it gets too warm. Were you next to a dam when you're striper fishing?
I don't think so. No, I don't think
Yeah.
so. Yeah, it was just
That's-
mind blowing. I was like, I couldn't believe how many stripers there was. It was just
Yeah, it's like the 3rd week of May. It's really tough because Sebago's getting like 50 degrees, so the lake trout are coming on fire. all the bass are in spawn, so they're easy pickings along the shoreline, you know, for the largemouth and the smallmouth. And the stripers are starting to run all at the same time. So you don't even know what to do for a couple of weeks. You have like your choice.
You're like straight ADHD the whole entire time. Where am I going? Where am I going?
When is
Oh,
this?
big time. It's
What-
brutal. You don't know which way to go.
when is this? Late May?
Yeah, late May. You can't
And
ask
it's
for
turkey
anything
season?
else.
During turkey season, exactly. During turkey season.
We have a bunch of turkeys up here in Gorham. You find one, you're gonna find 20.
Don't say that too loud. Not around here. Half the
Oh,
country would be up in
there's no
Gorham.
access. You can't even get into them. That's the hard part. It's hard getting into them.
Oh,
Ugh.
is it properly posted?
Is it properly posted?
Oh, we all know the best way to go turkey. The first step to going turkey hunting is ignoring 3 posted signs.
Hey, it's got to be properly posted.
Properly posted in Maine. If it's not properly posted,
What's that mean to you guys?
so it's
Proper.
proper every 50 feet. If it's not
And
50,
filled out, right? It should be filled out with their name and like information. I don't even count the blank ones.
we went last year. We come up to Maine
2 years ago.
2 years ago. We went up to Maine with some good friends of ours, and they're from Maine. And we'd roll up, and there'd be a turkey in the field, and we'd be like, "Is it properly posted?" He's like, "Nope, it's not properly posted." There'd be like one posted sign, and he'd be like, "Nope, not properly posted. We're going in. We go in on it." Like, it's our biggest question: is it properly posted?
Posted.
It's getting harder and harder though, man. It's not getting any easier to go hunting.
No. Nope. So Charlie, the real reason we had you come on was to go ice fishing. So we want to hear about the whole ice fishing thing up there in Maine and how it goes for you and what a day looks like.
Well, dude, I freaking love ice fishing because, like I said, I have 15 or 20 different ponds to choose from, and ice fishing is just something I want to do anyways. Like when I was in college, I could afford to go skiing. They give you like a college pass for like $400, whatever. But now it's like, are you effing kidding me, dude? For the cost of like a 1 day ticket, I can buy 100 dozen Shinas. That's not happening. But so now like in January the ice can be a bit funky. So I go to like smaller ponds and I go in shallow for brookies because brookies and like landlocked salmon are still in spawn mode in January. And so like you use like knowledge of like what season it is, what the fish are doing, how's the ice conditions. But dude, ice fishing is like a beast of its own. It's January through March. It's every man for himself. It's like who can go out on skinny ice? Who can get out there first? I don't try to play those games too bad. I try to be a little smarter. I'm 6'2" and 220. But I got my spots. It's brook trout and salmon to start the season. So right off the bat, it's like crazy gorgeous fish. Like landlocked salmon that are still left over in spawn mode, 4 to 10 feet of water on rocky shores. And so it's wicked sketchy ice. There's only 2 or 3 inches, but
I was
you're
gonna
only
say,
in
okay.
5 feet of water.
So what do you 2 to what do you consider sketchy ice? 2 to 3 inches?
Yeah, when it's cracking, when you're effing walking, dude. It's
Oh
going,
yeah, she's singing, baby.
yeah. Or when it's like a little wet. Yeah. Or it's making so much noise. I look up and my dog's still on shore. But like, yeah, dude, I'm 220. Like, 2 to 3 inches, and it can be soft. So you get out there, you can feel it moving underneath you a little bit. But then it'll be like, 16 degrees, 6 degrees for a couple nights in a row, and all of a sudden you go out and that 3 inches of ice is like cement all of a sudden.
Mm.
So it went from being like sketchy and soft, and now it's firming up, and so now you can start cruising up and down the shore a little better. I have all 5 of my traps within 20, like 30, 40 feet to start the season. I can just barely sneak out on this one shoreline that's holding a little bit of ice because it's in the shade and the sun doesn't hit it till 11 o'clock in the
Mm.
morning. And so I'll be creeping on these little areas, and I got a couple ponds where I already know in my head, literally, I know where I'm gonna park on the pond. I know where I'm gonna walk out on the pond early in the season. I know what trees and rocks I'm gonna put my traps right off where there's little inlets and such. And like I have like all the finest like rocks and trees memorized and shit.
There ain't nothing like first ice though. Like if it's been locked up for a little while but not safe for anyone to get on, if you're one of the first ones to get on there and get some bait in the water, man, you're talking magical days.
I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Absolutely. And you can
Yeah.
sneak onto little areas because you have local knowledge. You've been driving around these ponds since you were a kid. And like, yeah, that's definitely the way to do it. But then like this year there was all these like 20-year-old kids who weighed like 140 pounds, soaking wet, you know what I mean? Still live in their mom's basement and shit with their girlfriend. And they were beating me to my spot sometimes because I have to take care of my little girl, you know. I'm getting out there a little later, like 8 in the morning. They've been out since 5. So it's good to see though the younger
Mm.
generation coming up. But then more and more places become safe. And then I set up in an area where I can go after yellow perch and black crappie. We get tons of chain pickerel, but we also have chance at these northern pike, like 5 to 10 pound, maybe even 15-pound pike. So I
Yum.
try to keep people busy with the panfish, just jigging and such, and maybe the pickerel. But then all of a sudden we get these huge pike mixed in, and so you got good action and potential at big size. It's like a math equation you're trying to put
Hmm.
together for people.
Oh boy, let's break that into two parts. First, let's talk jig and perch first. What do you think, Trev?
I'm with it.
So if you're well, actually, let's take that back. Let's talk about the set. You're setting up first. So you're gonna put your traps out first, and you're pretty much targeting just pike with the traps for the most part. Like that's your target.
Dude, when you first get there, it's tough because this crew just showed up, right? So you already want to have your shacks up, your heat on, your chairs out, and a real man already put in 4 or 5 holes on top of that. So
Mm-hmm.
that means you were out there an hour before them in sub-zero temperatures, getting this whole area set, the table set for these people to show up. Because they don't want to show up from Massachusetts and just watch you set traps for 20, 30 minutes. They're like, oh, this is a lot of fun. But that's what I do. I set traps right off the bat in shallow for chain pickerel and pike. I want to go after the bigger fish right off the bat, and I do that a little shallower actually, along sandy and rocky jetties and sand, like big sandy beaches and stuff. But then I go punch holes out deeper, and I'll put smaller bait on right on the bottom for perch, because you know that the perch are going to be out, and when my cove's 10 to 14 feet of water, and the bottom 2 feet of your fish finder should be all perch. But they don't want to go up far, and if they won't swallow a medium large shiner, they're just going to hit it, pull it, flag up, maybe a lot of wasted time. So in shallow with medium to larger bait, and then out deeper with smaller bait right on the bottom for perch.
Now the pike setups in the shallower water, they're on the bottom as well.
Dude, I'm in Turtle Cove, so a lot of people come out here. It can be pressured like a lot of people could be fishing there any given day. So I think that the pike, like this guy mentioned earlier, they don't want to chase fish out deep. They don't want to work hard for that meal. Pike are, I think they're lazy and opportunistic fishermen. So they're going to go in shallow where it's easier to catch the donut, and they're going to go in shallower where it's, I don't know, I think it's easier for them to feed. They're not going to be in like a foot of water, but they're going to be hitting the shelf. Like wherever that natural shelf is, where it's like a natural wall going in shallow, they're going to be on the shelf, definitely.
And where are you presenting your bait? Like when for these pike and stuff. Like what are you doing right on the bottom? You coming a little bit off of
Dude,
it? Where how are you
if I'm in
presenting?
3 feet of water, I come up like 6 inches off the bottom because it's very weedy on the bottom. We like sometimes, so I want to be up out of the weeds. I want to be up off the trees, up out of the little leaves and pine needles and bullshit. If I'm in, I don't know, if I'm in like 7 feet of water, I'm probably a foot off the bottom.
Okay.
But if I'm in like 3 feet of water, I probably like I only have my clear fluorocarbon leader in the water. It's probably only like 16 inches of line in the water, maybe 18 inches of line in the water in 3 feet. So yeah, I try to be off the bottom. You don't want to be in the weeds. The Turtle Cove is a crazy, crazy, weedy place, and it's also all private access. So I'm pretty lucky. But up out of those weeds.
Okay.
And those fish like to be they cruise those weed lines too. Do you have a lot of weed lines that they're working or?
There's this other lake that we go to, and there's three grass islands on the far side, and it's the channels in between the grass islands in shallow water where you get the most fish. Yeah, I think they cruise the weed lines hard. They work the weed lines for sure, or they're in the weeds. They're just in the weeds, in the mud, sitting there like a submarine until something comes by.
Even in the spring and stuff, they're not very they're aggressive, but not like crazy aggressive. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're trying
Hmm.
to chase them, they're not. They seem like kind of lethargic, I guess, right? I mean, like pike aren't. They're just kind of chilling, cruising.
They might sit there and stare at it for a long time. In spring, they're in spawn. Sometimes they're not crazy aggressive early in the spring because they're all up in shallow water and they're not feeding.
Hmm.
They're just sitting there. They might defend, but they're not really feeding. There's like a difference.
So let me ask you this: Is so if you're out pike fishing, you've got your trap set. Are you and say it's a slow day? Are you better off if you're not getting action? Are you better off moving like every hour or two to find fish? Or are you better off just hold tight, have patience, and let them find it?
I don't know. In my area where I fish 20% of my cove. I ignore the other 80%. I never fish it. I've done 10 charters in the same cove. And dude, when they're there, they're there. It was freezing cold the last 2 days. So on Saturday I caught 14 fish, but they were half yellow perch, half pickerel. And Sunday I only caught 10 fish. And they were like 6 yellow perch and 4 okay pickerel, but 0 pike in 2 days. And I was like, well, you might want to go move your spot, right? But a lot of the time it's the moon or it's the weather, and it has nothing to do with you. So today I knew that today was the first warm weather we had in 3 or 4 days. We had a different pressure system. We had a very nice day. I went out today to the same damn spot. I've done 10 charters. I really literally re-drilled my holes in the same holes where I've had traps for hours and 50 hours this winter so far. I caught like 6 or 7 huge pickerel today and 2 pike, and out of my little cove that I've been fishing all winter long. That is the spot, dude, and that's gonna be like that on your lakes and ponds too. You're gonna find the honey hole, the hot spot, whatever. That's where you stay. You don't leave. It's
Mm.
up to them. They're there. Whether they're gonna give you a chance or not is up to the moon and the weather and a little bit to do with your presentation, but really not much.
So do you think that like snow coming in or warming up or that pressure changing that will really affect them? Just
Oh,
like
big
a regular
times.
open water?
Yeah, 100% without a doubt. It's the weather and the moon. It's very little to do with us. It's already cold in Maine winters, and the last 2 days I had extremely cold weather. So I was fishing in a cold weather system in a cold state at a cold time of year, and it sucked. They did not like it. The same thing happens to me in April on Sebago Lake. It's already cold out in April, but we have a very, very cold wind on a cold day. Those are the slowest days fishing. 100% it affects them. Going into a storm is always better. When the storm's there, it's a little slow. As the storm's leaving, it's a little slow.
Hmm. And you
Going
think,
into going into a full moon, right, with your striped bass, like the
yeah,
2 or 3 days going into a full moon. Holy Hannah, hold on to your rods. Coming out of a full moon, a little slow.
that's yeah, that 100%. I think that's we say the same ice fishing for like walleye and stuff. Like going into the full moon 3 days before the full moon and 3 days after the full moon are better than fishing actually on the full moon. The full
Yeah.
moon is the worst.
It can be, but then every species is different. The yellow perch were on fire the last 2 days in that super cold weather system where I
Hmm.
couldn't buy a pike, I couldn't buy a bass, I couldn't buy anything big at all. But we are catching 10 to 12 inch yellow perch to beat the band. They didn't give a fuck. They're like too stupid or something. I don't know.
They're just hungry.
So yeah, they're like piranhas and they're idiots. But every species is affected differently. The pike might be on, but the salmon are not. It's odd.
It's crazy because a lot of pike fishermen that pike fish a lot, they'll spend their whole season fishing the same area religiously every single weekend.
That's
And
where they are. They're in that pile right there. Absolutely, without a doubt.
and then it just happens. Like we had a friend of ours, literally he's an avid pike fisherman, fishes I could tell you to the hole where they are. And he's been there all season since first ice, and he finally catches one and it's 28 pounds.
That's an ice fishing thing. Um, it's like jigging in the summertime. You got to have your spots. Ice fishing is not like not over there. It's not over there. It's right effing here. And for whatever reason, your trap 10 feet over there won't even go off. But the one right here caught 6 fish today.
Mm-hmm.
So your friend there, for his credit, he knows that that little location produces monster fish, and he's not effing around. He's like, I'm gonna stay right here or
Mm-hmm.
nowhere, because he's learned from the past. But for some reason, ice fishing is a spot thing, and when I mean spot, you better line up. When I'm out on the shore, I'm lining up rocks and docks. I look at
Mm-hmm.
like little codes on shore. I know that there's this. I stand in between this rock and I go to this dock, and I'm like right here on the line, like logs, coves, it like spots like no other.
Are you looking at like water topographical maps to kind of figure out where to be in certain lakes or like certain features?
February, I think starting off ice fishing early in January, there's a lot of action on shore. You're very, very lucky. But in February, the shore's been beat up. The action, and they say they tend to go deeper. So by all means, start checking out your Navionics and your apps. And I look for underwater nipples, underwater islands or underwater peninsulas, but they look like a nipple.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
How you finding those? Because they don't really show detail like that on what is it, Navionics?
Not all of them. Not on the
No.
on some ponds. As you only get little numbers, you're
Yeah,
fucked.
it's not very detailed. Like I'm
No,
looking
so
just
you
like
just gotta
small
know, like,
LiDAR on my underwater.
Ooh.
and then also from growing up as a kid, all the times I've been around that pond in my
Mm.
crawdad, my old town canoe, I know that there's a sandbar right over here, 100%, and it goes off this way. Holy crap! My mom lived on this lake for 7 years, and there was an underwater rock jetty in front of her neighbors right next to us that you would never even know it's there. But I've been out 40 feet off of shore, standing up with like the water only up to my waist on the end of the tip of this underwater rock jetty thing. And the only reason I know it's there is because like I lived there, and I went
Mm.
over it in my boat 100 times. And I go ice fishing, and I put all my bait right along the wall of that underwater jetty, and the salmon just hammer it. And dude, there's a stream that comes in at the base of the jetty on shore, and that's where I caught my biggest lake trout one year in 10 feet of water right off that stream, right where I could picture in my head where the stream came in and the rock jetty started. I was like right here. So you're literally like trying to line stuff up from just when you've been fishing there before. Absolutely structure. Because the depth thing is very difficult if you don't have a Navionics topographic map.
Yeah, you're just drilling a ton of holes with your flasher to try and figure out where the shelves are, where all that stuff is to try and find the breaks.
Yep, experience from being out on the pond over and over and again. And there's a lot of days where I'm out on the pond growing up where I didn't really catch it that much. But I looked over there and I saw those guys tearing them up. They ran to flags all day long. Well, I'm not an idiot. Next time I go out, I'm creeping over there a little bit. You know what I mean? And you
Hundred
do this
percent.
for 30 years, bro. And now you go to every pond in your area and you're like, well, my brother caught a salmon over here, or my cousin Vinny caught a huge lake trout over here, or my drunk friend Chris Myrick with his twisted tees getting all shithouse caught a bass right over there.
That's where I'm going.
Hell yeah.
Wherever Chris is, because if not, at least you're gonna get a twisted tea.
Oh man, I couldn't even fish with him anymore after a while because he dumped so many over in my canoe. They'd all end up in my feet and like my stuff, and I'd be like, oh,
Then you got to put them on top of the Corolla, and then
it was horrible. It was
We
absolutely horrible.
me and my buddy went out on Saturday Onyx, and it was the backside of an island, and looking at Navionics, it looked like a good spot, right? It had kind of had a little bit of everything, and we set up early in the morning, and man, it was slow. And I remember saying to him, I was like, dude, this isn't a good sign. And he's like, what's that? And I was like, I don't see any old holes anywhere around where we are. And he's like, yeah, that's good. That means no one's fished here. And I was like, no, there's somebody out there that fishes this pond every weekend, and nobody has fished where we are right now. That can't be a good sign. So we gave it like an hour and a half, and started scouting around the other side of the island. I started seeing some old holes. I'm like, dude, we're moving. So we pulled everything up like 9 o'clock in the morning, moved over there where the old holes were, and started hitting fish left and right. I'm like, dude, sometimes low pressure is not the best. Sometimes you need to be where you need to be, you know?
Yep, that was a good idea. It's that's a lot of work when you have to move ice fishing. But then it is always the trap that you ended up moving them. Sometimes gives you the chance. Good for you.
Yeah.
People do the same thing with my cove. They walk out, and the last thing they want to go do is go fish my area. So it looks like a herd of elephants just went through there, and they're like, dude, I'm not fishing over there. That makes me twice as happy. I come out, and I'm like, yes, no one's in my spot. So it looks like Swiss cheese right now.
You know the best holes to go to is the ones that have the most traffic to it. Like if I'm going and I'm stealing someone's spot, I want the hole that has 350 footprints next to the hole because you
And
know
it's
damn
bloody.
right sure that the fish are there.
Old chewed up, half-eaten shiners all over the top of the ice. And
No, by the end of the day, you do end up with quite the maze of like twisted paths going all through the snow. It's kind of neat. It's like it's been a good day, boys.
So do you get clients from all over to that come and fish with you? Like, is there like certain fish that they're trying to catch or goals that they're trying to meet?
Well, if there is, they let you know that right off the bat, 100%. But if they don't request anything and they haven't been fishing at all, I just take them to warm water fisheries to hammer the pickerel for action, 100%. But dude, people who want a certain species are the most demanding and the most grumpy, 100%. And they'll torture you if you don't get one. The crappie guys. I went to my local crappie pond because this guy wanted a crappie spawn. He caught 27 fish in 4 hours. Not one was a fucking crappie. He messaged me for like 3 months, like, "Hey, bro, you gotta get me that crappie, ma." It's like, dude, he
where's he
even showed
from?
up. He even showed up with an extra guy, and like he hammered fish too, and like I didn't even charge him for that.
Where
He
is he
just said,
from? What state?
"Oh, dude, he was from Maine. That's another warning. Why is a Maine guy hiring him? Like, and he was from Moosehead, which is like another red flag, because that's how like they feed their goddamn family up in Moosehead is ice fishing. And why are you asking me? But and the next time I went to that pond with a different crew with a different energy, six crappie. Like I can't even make it up, dude. It was like, and they were all like 15, 16-inch pan-sized fish, like they were in spawn or something. We were just getting monster after monster after a couple of holes. And I was like, I can't make this up. The guy last week wanted crappie, I couldn't buy one. Today I'm just like I'm like hammering the crappie. So yeah, that was brutal. And he messaged me for a while.
Do you tend to get more like clientele wise? Do you get more like hands on like real ice fishermen that just kind of want to come up and like fish southern Maine with you, and you just kind of take them to the spot and put them on the fish, or do you get a lot of people that don't want to do anything and they just want you to do all the work and they just want to pull the fish in?
Yeah, you can tell the difference right off the bat. I get a lot of people who haven't fished before. They're up here on vacation and they want to be entertained. They
Right.
don't know what they don't want to. They don't know anything else to do. Saturday they're from Connecticut. Sorry, they showed up with it was like 18 degrees, freezing tits cold. It was like 20-mile-an-hour wind out of the north, dude. 18 degrees. I don't even know what the wind chill was. They had insulated jeans on. Like they didn't even have snow pants on. I was like, you guys are in a tough day, guys.
Nice. That must be from Fairfield.
But
Yeah.
100%, they don't want to work. That's why they paid me today. Like I'm the one baiting the traps. I'm doing all the everything. And if it's slow, they don't want to see you sit down either. You got to go like tend to the traps, check the bait, drill some more jig holes. They people want to be catered to, they're paying for a service without a doubt. But then also, it's awesome when they're self-reliant because I can tell these are hardcore fishermen. They
Mm.
know what's up. I'm gonna put these guys in the right spot. I'm gonna give them some bait, and they're not gonna stop. Like these two guys they caught 60 yellow perch in one day. They sat down at 7:30 and they didn't stop catching fish until 2:30 when they left. And I was like, "That's how you do it, boys." And they made me clean all those motherfuckers.
They kept them. They kept every single one of
Oh,
them.
dude, it was three of us. It was like 60 yellow perch, probably 10 or 12 chain pickerel, three or four brown trout. It's
All
one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite spots. I think I can catch 100 fish in one day in a couple different locations, and this is one of them. But you catch yellow perch and cusk, these eel catfish.
Oh
And
yeah.
dude, if you got a cusk because they fight so much harder than the yellow perch. You're like, oh shit. And so it's tons of fun. You have potential. You can't even count them. And you set your traps for brown trout and like you get a bunch of pickerel too, but also browns.
do you get your trout up higher, closer to the ice? I hear a lot of people set their shiner right under the ice for
Well, if
trout.
you're talking about brown trout, right?
Uh
Yeah.
If
huh.
you're talking about brown trout, they do not want to compete with the perch on the bottom. But they don't want to cruise under the ice either. Brown trout are 12 feet down and 12 feet up. That's a rule. I just made that rule. Did you hear me?
No, so Yeah, I see what you're
12
saying.
feet down, 12
You're
feet
saying like middle of the water column. So if you're
Yeah.
at
You
12,
want to be up at you want to be up above the yellow perch because they don't want to compete with all that shit, and they don't really cruise directly under the ice. You
They want to be
12 feet
underneath
down.
the rainbows and the and the
so
salmon.
for
But
argument's sake, if you're in like 20 feet of water, you want to be at like 10 feet,
yeah, or
right,
like 14. Yeah, absolutely.
right around the
Dude,
middle.
brown trout are assholes. They're everywhere. Salmon are more underneath the ice. So, be 8 feet down, 2 to 8 feet under the ice for Sammy, without a doubt. Brook trout are in shallow, right on the shore, like 5 to 10 feet of water. You rarely catch a brookie over 10 feet deep. Rainbows are in shallow too at night with worms and power bait right on the bottom all night for rainbows in shallow
At
sandy
night?
shores.
Power
Yeah,
bait, like you talking about the little nugget power bait, the little
Hank, Hank
marshmallow
ones.
looking thing. I was always a yellow color guy.
You
But
probably could, but at night and night crawlers,
come
not
on,
even shiners, up on shore. That's
um,
the best part. You go to a
right on
rainbow trout and stay out all night and keep
shoot
hammering.
for your split shot right on the bottom and set that power bait like 6-8 inches off the bottom
Yep, yep, right off the bottom on sandy shores.
at night.
It's fun. Rainbows bite better at night, especially in February. In January, they give it up along shore early in the season because it's like everyone's the first time out there. Like it's early in the season, all the stockies are fresh. But in February, a lot of your trout action gets amazingly stingy. Like browns, rainbows, they all go deep for sure. And then they can be a little bit better at night. Rainbows.
Hmm. They
Yep.
say we have a lot of guys here that deep water fish for big browns at night.
Absolutely.
50, 60 feet of water for
I like to be in
browns.
60 feet of water. Absolutely. The deepest part of the pond, but not right on the bottom. Like I said, like 12, 14 feet off the bottom, 12 feet down.
That's
But in
wild.
the
Come
deep,
on.
that's a February thing. The bite goes deep in February.
Well,
Hmm.
guess what, boys? It's February.
Yeah, man, we're going deep. We're going
Mhm.
real deep.
Like on Sebago Lake, it's all about the lake trout right now. And 90 to 120, blah, blah, blah. We're just starting to do charters out there for huge mega lakers. And
How
all the action's mostly deeper.
how big are the Lakers that you're getting on Sebago?
My buddy just caught one 16 pounds. 5 to 10 pounds are common. We could go for 30 a day, 40 a day if we find the right hole.
Jigging.
Jigging. We don't even set traps for Lakers. You sit in your nice warm hut, you got the fish finder on, and you just jig all day long with the heat on, talking shit.
Are you
Yep.
using electronics?
Oh yeah, you have to. Yeah, absolutely. I give everyone their own fish finder.
What do you
So
run?
like you get your own Garmin Striker 4. You can see your jig, you can see the bait, you can see everything. You can see the fish, check out your junk. It's frustrating.
Yeah. I told you earlier, I went lake trout fishing for the first time a couple weeks ago. And I mean, I didn't really know what I was doing. After doing it, I don't know how I could have done it without electronics. Just because
It,
you watch them come up after the bait and then they don't hit it, and then you drop it back down. He chases it up, chases it down, chases it up, chases it down, and then finally you give him that right time, and he hits it.
yep, 100%. Those are lookers. You gotta turn the lookers into hookers.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm.
our motto.
How
It's
do you
true.
how do you turn a looker into a hooker?
Dude, you gotta come on. I don't know. You gotta come fishing with me, bro. Lookers to hookers. Fuck's fast and beyond.
Make that a bumper sticker, bud. Put it on the back of the
I'm
pond.
working on it.
Look.
We got a couple of sayings. Lookers to hookers is a good one.
I love it.
Because
So,
lake trout and splake are notorious followers. They'll follow it all day. It's really frustrating.
what was that? Lakers and what?
Splake, a half brookie, half lake trout, created by like right up here. They're created. They breed them at the main fish and game.
Did
They're
Fauci make those?
Yeah, they could have. They're thrown into failed salmon fisheries
No
where
shit.
the salmon have plummeted because usually the traditional smelt population is also plummeted and it's been overfished. So they put splake in there instead.
Wow. I never heard
They're
about
ultimate.
splake, but
All dude, they're lookers and they fight you to the death. And they the size of the lake trout, but the colors of the brook trout. It's phenomenal. They're gorgeous. They're huge.
do they eat well?
Dude, they're so fat. We have a couple ponds around here that are highly pressured. Dude, they can be very fat. Dude, they be puking out smelts and puking out alewives. Oh, dude, they eat well. Dude, like you're gonna eat one?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
See, I don't eat anything up here, really. No, I don't eat them.
Really?
I don't eat stocked fish either. Mm-mm.
Oh no, they taste like mush, and they taste
Yeah,
like grain.
and so I think that's what the splake are. They're stocked fish. It's can be a little mushy, and they feed on the bottom sometimes.
Ugh.
And they've been eating like cigarette butts and fucking rubber worms their whole life.
So, do you eat the cusk? Cause cusk is good eating.
My grandmother would. I put mine back, dude. The first of all, they're ugly as fuck. I'm just letting that thing go. And you gotta clean them, dude. Oh god, dude. I
They're like
clean anything.
eels.
Yeah, and you gotta cook them in your house, and your whole house is gonna smell like low tide.
They almost
I'll
look like
just,
a snakehead,
I'll
don't
just,
they? Sort of.
I'll just put a Little Caesars on the way home. You know what I mean? Like I'm letting mine go.
That's just because you don't want the clients to keep them because you gotta clean them.
Oh, disgusting.
He's trying to talk him out of it. Nah, you don't want that. That thing tastes like shit.
Right, get it off my boat. You're making a mess.
He's nah, it's more to clean. You know what we do on the charter boats? We charge everybody $1 a fish. So they want to keep a bunch of fish, then it's $1 a fish. It's worth it.
Oh, dude, they better tip you. If you sit there and just clean like 15, 20 lake trout and they don't give you a tip, bro, like there's a cold place in hell for that guy.
Especially for you when you don't like them. You don't like eating
Oh,
them.
I don't know. I think yellow perch is the worst. I'd rather fish clean trout than like a bunch of yellow perch.
how do you clean them? They're like friggin' tiny. You
I
cut
know.
off the
That's why I
head, the
eat 'em.
tail, and the guts. Like, do you skin them?
What, the perch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you just cut them. I cut them with the rib bone in them, and then cut the rib bone
Mhm.
out after. And then, dude, we used to catch. Bro, my favorite thing is bluegill. I love
Oh,
eating
God.
bluegill. We used to jig up bluegill. Oh my god, they're the best. Oh, they're the
That's
best.
so much work.
And
That's
pout.
work, bro.
Oh my god.
You got work to clean those.
Mm.
Yeah, well, I used to also work on a charter boat, and we would clean about 1,500 fish a day. So I'm not really worried about cleaning fish.
Right?
When you work on a head
Oh.
boat, 75 guys, and the limit's 50 per person.
You know, on Sebago Lake, I can't even cut off the heads or the tails because they need to know how long the fish was.
Mhm.
Because we're allowed unlimited fish under 24 inches. But if I whack off all the heads and tails of these things, they're not gonna know how long they are. So I gotta like gut them and then give them like, here you go, here's your fish.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
Exactly. And dude, they're all from out of state, and like they're looking at me like this is not how they do it on like your boat. They're like, this is not how they do it in the ocean.
Yeah, you got to cook it on a stick like an Indian. What are you talking about?
No way. And I put the guts in my trash, and I got like my dog rolling in the trash at like 2 a.m. when he's supposed to be taking his shit. It comes back in smelling like rotten guts and fish. No way. I'm just eating Little Caesars every time.
Some easy bread.
He's smoking Chiba and going to Little Caesars on the way home.
It's that $5 hot and ready.
Like a madman. Nasty fish out of here. I brought a lake trout home and I baked it in my oven and it stunk up the whole house. And my girlfriend came home and she's like, "What the fuck is that smell?" And I'm like, "Oh, I got lake trout for Oakley, my dog." And she's like, "You're not feeding that to my dog." Oh my god.
Oh. This is why we pick Bucks, Bass, and beyond.
100%, boys. We're a lot of fun. And you have potential at huge fish at the same time. You can't ask for anything else.
I love it. Charlie, let me ask you one question before we kick this thing right off. Why don't you tell everybody what drives you outdoors?
Well, dude, it's just that's where I always feel at peace, 100%. If I can be outside in the woods or on the lake, any type of internal jitters or nervousness is gone. Any type of real world problems or issues like cease to exist. You leave your land problems on land, and you enjoy fishing with you and your friends. But it's always been a passion of mine. I grew up in the Lakes region area fishing with my little brother. I'm very much family oriented and outdoors oriented. And some people might get taller, but they don't really like grow up, if you know what I mean. And fishing and hunting is a place where you can still be crazy, you can still be a kid, and a lot of it's legal. So Fishing and hunting is one of the only places I never really got in trouble. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If you have a passion of hunting and fishing, you will stay out of trouble. You will have goals. You will have friends that stay out of trouble. It will keep you on a better path. And like you, dude, I just always see potential. Like even on slow fishing days, I'd rather be out on the pontoon boat with the potential for an absolute slob than being out at home on my couch any day of the week.
Well, and with that, you always get Little Caesars on the ride home. So what is
Yeah,
better
we
than
do, bud.
that?
Yeah, we even go to one of the medical dispensaries and get some Little Caesars, and now we're talking.
I love it. I
All
am.
right, I'll pack my bags. I'm going up next weekend.
Yep, that's it. It's over. It's over.
Yeah, we got like the FBI might be coming. We gotta go.
Charlie, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you, check you out, check out your website, see you on Facebook, follow along with all the craziness in Southern Maine?
They really should. They really should. I paid some search engine optimization super geek computer guy what I should have got 2 fish finders for this website. It's Bucks, Bass, and Beyond.com. BucksBassAndBeyond.com on Facebook, Instagram, and online. And that comes from me and my little brother driving about 45 minutes to go hunting. And we'd leave around 4 a.m. And we have a lot of long conversations between 4 and 5 on the way to our hunting spot. And we'd be like, one day we should be like guides. And we can call it Bucks, Bass, and Beyond. And my brother was like, oh, that's such a good idea, bro. What a good idea. And that's from like when we were like kids, like 18 to 22. And even though I don't really go deer hunting, and I don't really go bass fishing, I stuck with the name. It's Bucks, Bass, and Beyond. And you're going to get a guide who's a little bit out there, but he's got a lot of local knowledge and a lot of experience in this area. And you couldn't ask for anybody else.
And dreams do come true. Charlie, thanks for joining us. Thanks for hanging out with us. We can't wait
Yep.
to follow along. And for everybody else, thanks for taking the ride right here.
Yeah, where wet dreams come true.
Where wet dreams come true right here on the Outdoor Drive.
Want to plan your next fishing trip without the hassle? FishingBooker.com is the best way to find and book a fishing charter anywhere in the world. Whether you're chasing trophy fish or just looking for a family day on the water, Fishing Booker makes it simple, fast, and secure. With thousands of experienced guides, verified reviews, and 24/7 customer support, Fishing Booker takes the guesswork out of planning. Visit FishingBooker.com and book your trip today. Fishing Booker. Fishing trips made easy.